have ED's counsel going on to say that this is an offence of theft by Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee, is what Solicitor General Tushar Mehta has said. This kind of act will encourage state police officers to aid and abet such cases, and also has said, set an example, ask authorities to suspend the DGP, Rajiv Kumar, and Police Commissioner and Deputy Police Commissioner of Kolkata. Joining me live on this story is Shreyashi. Shreyashi, some very scathing remarks coming in from the Solicitor General on behalf of the Enforcement Directorate in India's top court right now.
Well, that's right. Just this morning before the hearing, the ED has filed a fresh application for imprisonment of the DOPT as well as the MHA, under whose purview the IPS officers of the state also fall under. Now, the Supreme Court is hearing the matter in which the Enforcement Directorate has alleged that the Chief Minister of West Bengal, along with senior IPS officers and police force, obstructed the raids that were being carried out by the Enforcement Directorate in the alleged coal smuggling scam. The ED here at the Calcutta High Court yesterday also mentioned that there was no seizures done by the Enforcement Directorate. Instead, it's the Chief Minister who had taken all the files and electronic evidences from the location where the search operations were being conducted. One, IPAC office, and second, at Pratik Jain's residence, who is the director of IPAC. Now, the Enforcement Directorate is demanding a CBI investigation into this matter and has asked the Supreme Court to retain all the CCTV footages that have been already seized by the Kolkata police of the day of the search operations that were conducted here in Kolkata. At the same time, there are 4 FIRs that have been filed by Mamata Banerjee's police against the Enforcement Directorate. The ED has also sought a quashing of these FIRs against their officers. So, of course, it's going to be a big face-off between the Mamata Banerjee government and the Enforcement Directorate in the Supreme Court. At this moment, the ASB has already informed the court that this amounts to theft, and if action is not taken against the IPS officers who accompany the minister on the day of the raid, that means that it will set a wrong precedent to the remaining officers across the country in such situations. So, of course, we'll have to keep a close watch on what the Supreme Court ultimately orders. But at this moment, ED is making its points before the bench of the Supreme Court, the division bench of Supreme Court, after which Kapil Sibal will be making arguments on behalf of the Chief Minister of West Bengal.
In fact, he's already interjected from what I can see here. But I want to ask you, Shreyashi, there's a very important comment coming in from the Solicitor General here. I'm just going to read that out, where Tushar Mehta says the officers of ED intimated local police and acting under Section 17 PMLA was to probe IPAC and then all police officers. The Chief Minister took away all the files. This is theft. She took an ED officer's phone as well. A very scathing remark there, a very important remark there being made by the Solicitor General there. How has the Trinamool Congress been reacting to these claims made by the Enforcement Directorate even previously in the hearing in Calcutta?
Well, Vedika, when it comes to the Trinamool Congress, Mamata Banerjee is the last word. And of course, she has been extremely vocal about these search operations conducted by the ED in a 2020 case that they have once again renewed investigation in the alleged coal scam. Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee, on the day of the raid, as we were covering, had come out with a green file, a laptop and a mobile phone. Even at the IPAC office, the ED has alleged that the electronic device of the Enforcement Directorate, where the data was being transferred, was taken away for 2 hours by the DGP of West Bengal Police, Rajiv Kumar, and they were intimidated. The police here have booked the Enforcement Directorate for theft, criminal intimidation, and also for trespassing. So those, charges are also being investigated by the Kolkata police against the Enforcement Directorate. But anyone here in West Bengal will say that these scenes are not new in the state. We have seen this previously in 2019 as well, when the CBI had reached then Police Commissioner Rajiv Kumar, who is now the DGP, his residence to serve him a summon in the alleged Narda scam. And, hell had broken loose with the CBI officers being detained by the Kolkata police. So these situations have, risen before. But Mamata Banerjee has been putting up a brave face. She took out a protest rally the very next day in Kolkata along with her party supporters and leaders. The Trinamool Congress is sticking to its stand that their political data has been stolen by the Enforcement Directorate ahead of the Vidhan Sabha elections here in West Bengal. And this is an attempt that is being made by the BJP, a direct allegation made by the Chief Minister against Home Minister Amit Shah here in Kolkata.
Stand from you if you could take us through what happened in the High Court yesterday, because that also seems to be a part of the conversation happening in the top court right now.
Well, yesterday in the Calcutta High Court, S.V. Raju, on behalf of the Enforcement Directorate, asked that both the matters be adjourned because they are pending before the Supreme Court. That's when Trinamool Congress's counsel, Menika Guruswamy, interjected and said that data had been stolen by the Enforcement Directorate and they want that to be preserved and not be circulated to anyone. That's when the ED also intervened and said that there was no seizure and stated the Panchnama that was recorded at both Pratik Jain's residence as well as the IPAC office, where the Enforcement Directorate has reiterated that no documents of the Trinamool Congress or any documents from IPAC office was seized. There was no electronic evidence was seized. Instead, there was an attempt to criminally intimidate the Enforcement Directorate officers, and files and laptop was taken by the Chief Minister amounting to theft. So those are the arguments that were made in the Calcutta High Court. Thereafter, the judge, Justice Shubhra Ghosh, adjourned the matter in which, the ED had in fact disposed both the matters. The first matter was disposed because the ED said that no evidence was taken. There was no seizure done at both the locations. And the second matter was disposed because the Supreme Court was hearing it. So essentially, there was nothing that happened significant here at the Calcutta High Court, and the ball was shifted to the Supreme Court of India.
Interesting to even see what's happening inside the Supreme Court, Shreyashi, at this point, because Jantar and then you have Tushar Mehta agreeing to it and saying, yes, the court was turned into a Jantar Mantar by circulating a WhatsApp message saying, come to this court on this date and this time. And he goes on to argue, we approach the High Court, now see what happens when mobocracy overtakes democracy. See what the High Court judge observes in the order. It notes huge number of lawyers gathered creating commotion. She stated environment in court was not conducive for a hearing. What can you share about that hearing in terms of what the claims are from the Enforcement Directorate's counsel at this point that mobocracy took over democracy?
Well, he's obviously stating what happened on the 9th of January, a day after the search operations, when Calcutta High Court took up the matter for hearing at 2:30 p.m. Before Justice Shubhra Ghosh's bench. There was a lot of commotion. The courtroom was small to actually hold so many spectators. There were a lot of advocates. Interns were also present. Media was present inside the courtroom to hear what both the sides had to put before the bench. But thereafter, the judge got missed. She got up and left for her chamber. Kalyan Banerjee, who was representing the Chief Minister, also appealed to the advocates who are not linked to the matter to leave the premises. But that did not happen. The police was at the security outside the courtroom. Pleads were made to the people to vacate the courtroom so that a peaceful hearing can take place. But after 15 minutes, when that did not happen, the matter was adjourned to January 14th, yesterday. And the matter now both have been disposed by the Calcutta High Court, and all eyes on the Supreme Court that is hearing the matter currently, where, of course, Tushar Mehta is making his points on behalf of the Enforcement Directorate, after which Kapil Sibal will be putting in his points on behalf of the Chief Minister of West Bengal.
You know, Nupur is inside the Supreme Court. We will get word from her shortly, but I want to understand from you if you can even further decode this for us, Shreyashi. This is our biggest story here on Breaking Ground at the top of 12 p.m. There is this demand, and has been for a while, by the Enforcement Directorate and through their counsel to suspend DGP Rajiv Kumar, the Police Commissioner, as well as the Deputy Police Commissioner. What has been the stand of the police, the Kolkata police, on this entire fiasco?
When we did speak to the Kolkata Police Commissioner during a public event earlier this week, he refused to comment, saying that the matter is sub judice. As for DGP Rajiv Kumar, this is not the first time that he has been embroiled in a controversy against the central agencies. He's also been featured prominently during CBI raids here in West Bengal and later on as well. But as far as action coming in for DGP, that would of course have a larger significance in his professional career. But he is due to retire at the end of this month. He has only few days left in office, after which he will be demitting his office. So whether or not any action comes in on him at this point will make very little difference. As for the DCP and the Commissioner of Police are concerned, Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee has vehemently stand by her officers. Time and again, we have seen her also sit on a dharna earlier for Rajiv Kumar in 2019 when CBI tried to reach his residence. So, Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee is also the Home Minister of the state, has always backed her police officers, be it during the RG rape and murder case investigation, when there was a lot of public anger towards the police force here. She has stuck the ground and stayed on with her police officers. Those police officers have been reinstated into higher posts currently here in West Bengal. So essentially, we'll have to wait and see what kind of order the Supreme Court passes, and whether or not, Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee challenges that further, or whether or not she really takes any action will be to see. But so far, we can tell the viewers that going by the history of the state, no such action has ever been taken against any senior IPS officer that has accompanied the Chief Minister during central agency raids.
Court Shreyashi, the Solicitor General Tushar Mehta goes on to say, I don't wish to say anything, but we are here to protect fundamental right of our officers. We are acting under the Act and we do not seize for any personal gains here. So that seems to be one of the claims by the Enforcement Directorate at a time where the Trinamool Congress, Mamata Banerjee, all claim that the Enforcement Directorate, of course, has been their claim repeatedly, is being used as a tool by the centre against them.
Well, that's right. When they did file the application before the Supreme Court, they had stated Article 32 was violated here by the Chief Minister as well as the police officers. On the 8th of January at around 6:20 is when the ED had reached Pratik Jain, a director of IPAC's residence here in Kolkata, and simultaneously also reached the residence or also reached the IPAC office in Kolkata. And they were conducting simultaneous raids. Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee reached Pratik Jain's residence at around noon and walks out with files, a laptop and a mobile phone from Pratik Jain's residence that the ED was examining at that point in time. Thereafter, she came to the IPAC office and she sat on a dharna there along with her party leadership and senior officials of the administration. She came out, she addressed the media. She was there till about 4 p.m. And around 6:30 in the evening, the ED left the IPAC premises. And in the Panchnama, in both these locations, they have stated that there was no seizures made, no documents were seized, and no digital evidence was taken. So essentially, the ED has been raising this point that they haven't been able to go ahead and investigate the case for which they had been given a nod and had taken all the requisite documents to conduct their search operations from the Delhi officers. But of course, this coming ahead of the elections in West Bengal has taken a complete political turn, with the Trinamool Congress pointing fingers at the BJP, saying that they are allegedly misusing the central agencies to steal data of the political party that has engaged the IPAC for over 6 years now in West Bengal. And even at a time when the SIR exercise is being conducted, all their confidential data is in the IPAC office. Pratik Jain also handles the IT and the social media handles of the party. So all these allegations have been leveled by the Trinamool Congress against the ED. And of course, we are going to see these arguments also play out inside the Supreme Court as the hearing continues.
Just hold off for a moment. I'm going to come back to you in just a moment from now, Shreyashi, where we will also talk about the bigger Till now, we've been talking about all those big attacks that the Enforcement Directorate's Council has been making inside the Supreme Court against Mamata Banerjee and her party, the Trinamool Congress, as well as the top cops of the city. But before that, let's just take our viewers through what's really happening inside. Got some of the big attacks here. The Chief Minister has a pattern of taking law into her hands, is one claim by the Enforcement Director. State police misuse, hence suspend some of them. Chief Minister entered without permit, took away files. This is a case of theft, is what they are also saying at this point against Mamata Banerjee. CM also grabbed Enforcement Directorate officer's phone. Central forces being demoralized. Set an example is what they're saying by suspending the top cops who were involved. State will think they can barge in, commit theft. So this could be also them trying to attempt to say here that if you don't do anything about it, this will give more ammo, more ammunition to the state government. Hence, take action is a part of their plea while they are in the top court. Very interesting here, Shreyashi. One truth, one incident, two versions. Who's really the victim here is the question, and that is what the fight is also essentially all about in India's top court this afternoon.
Well, that's right. The alleged poll scam in which the Enforcement Directorate has begun fresh investigation from New Delhi. Remember, the officers who came to Kolkata to conduct those search operations were all from New Delhi, accompanied by few officers from the Kolkata branch. So essentially, the officers in Delhi who were conducting these search operations at the IPAC office and the residence of Prateek Jain. But more importantly, so far as the whole investigation is concerned, which is both under the CBI as well as the Enforcement Directorate investigation, majority of the prime accused are out on bail. There have been charge sheets that have been filed by both the CBI as well as the ED, but there has been no trial that has begun. The charge sheets have, been submitted before the special courts in Kolkata as well as New Delhi, where the investigations are being carried out. But really, no one has been put on trial as yet as far as this investigation is concerned, which is why the Trinamool Congress is also questioning the timing of these search operations and the sudden, activeness of the Enforcement Directorate after filing an FIR into ECIR in 2020.
Coming back to in a moment, Shreyashi, because there is something very big coming through from the Supreme Court right now. The Supreme Court has called this a very serious case. The Supreme Court has said it is a very serious matter and we will issue notices, is what we're being told at this point. This has to do, of course, with the case that Shreyashi and I have been talking about. We will bring you more on this, but going back to you, Shreyashi, continue with what you were saying at this point, but this is a very serious observation being made by India's top court in the case.
Well, usually when such allegations are made, the court does give the respondents time to file their side of the allegations, and that happens in terms of notices. This is to ascertain whether or not these officers were actually at the place of the search operations as being alleged by the ED. The evidence that has been seized, that is the CCTV visuals from both these locations where the search operations were being conducted by the Enforcement Directorate. So all these details will be, required by the Supreme Court before a larger order can be, passed. So usually notices being issued to the respondents or the petitioners are a usual form of the Supreme Court. But of course, this is a high voltage hearing that is taking place in the Supreme Court. And on behalf of the Enforcement Directorate, Tushar Mehta is making the arguments. And shortly from now, Kapil Sibal will be keeping his, arguments before the Supreme Court on behalf of the West Bengal government. But of course, some very, very serious allegations being made by the Enforcement Directorate against the Mamata Banerjee government of obstructing search operations during the alleged poll scam investigation here in Kolkata.
So two big developments from inside the top court, and I'm going to just recap that for our viewers, then we'll go back to Shreyashi. Shreyashi, this is important to note what has happened inside the Supreme Court. Some big remarks coming in from the top court. They have said, and I'm quoting the judges here, we are very much disturbed by what happened in court. That's something you and I just discussed. Perhaps, the references to the 9th. And then it is a very serious issue. SC intends to issue notices. The hearing is still on, and you have Kapil Sibal, who has also intervened, saying that here are side of the story first before issuing those notices. And SC says, we are hearing you, but we are very much disturbed on what has happened in the High Court. So while you have that face-off between the BJP, the Trinamool Congress and the Enforcement Directorate, you also have a lot happening parallelly on what happened in Kolkata in that hearing in the High Court. Shreyashi is still with us. All right, I believe Shreyashi is not with us for a moment there. We'll try and reconnect with her. But a lot of developments coming in from India's top court there on this matter between the Enforcement Directorate and the Trinamool Congress. It's fiery Mamata Banerjee versus the Enforcement Directorate. You've had the Trinamool Congress say repeatedly that in this case, we have seen the centre use the Enforcement Directorate against us over and over again. That is one of their top claims. They are playing the victim card there as well. But you have the Enforcement Directorate through its counsel today saying that this is our job and we were just doing our job. But the big takeaway for now, while this hearing continues, is that the Supreme Court has said that this is a serious case. It's a disturbing matter, especially what happened inside the court. They will be issuing notices. That's when Kapil Sibal, who is representing the Trinamool Congress here, Mamata Banerjee here, has stepped in and said, hold on, just listen to us before you go ahead and issue those notices. Remember, this case dates back to a couple of days back when you had the ED raid the IPAC office and residence of its co-founder, and then Mamata Banerjee was seen storming in. That file in her hand has been highly controversial in terms of the claims by the Enforcement Directorate, and we will try and get our reporters on this story, which is developing every minute. Some very important observations coming in there from the Supreme Court. I'm going to take you through some of them from the very top, where you've had the big charges on Mamata Banerjee being levelled by Tushar Mehta, who is representing the Enforcement Directorate. He has said that Mamata Banerjee barged into that raid that took place when the Enforcement Directorate was raiding the IPAC office and the co-founder's residence. Mamata Banerjee took away files and an officer's phone. They claim that this is clear theft by Mamata Banerjee. Mobocracy under Mamata Banerjee is what they're also saying, that this is a case of mobocracy versus democracy on behalf of the Enforcement Directorate inside India's top court. They also claim that a crowd gathered in the High Court when this matter was being heard on the 9th. The claim also here, and this is very important to note, is that there was a lot of movement that had happened inside the High Court and right outside. So what the Enforcement Directorate is trying to claim here is that a lot of that maneuvering was orchestrated by the Trinamool Congress. You also have them claiming that WhatsApp messages were sent out for crowds to gather there, and that the High Court turned into Jantar Mantar, which essentially means there was utter chaos inside and outside the High Court. Shreyashi is now on the phone line with me on this. Shreyashi, some very scathing remarks coming in. The focus is, of course, as much on what happened on the 9th inside the High Court as it is on the raids and the fallout of the raid.
Well, absolutely. And what the Enforcement Directorate is essentially doing is it's highlighting the kind of obstruction it has faced in West Bengal while carrying out an investigation. Now, the Enforcement Directorate has been investigating the alleged coal pilferage scam here in the state of West Bengal since 2020, and it had renewed its search operations on the 8th of January here in West Bengal, but faced obstruction from none other than the Chief Minister herself, who barged into the raid site in Kolkata at IPAC Director Pratik Jain's residence, and thereafter the IPAC office along with her officials. Now, the Enforcement Directorate has, of course, raised this part where they faced obstruction directly from the Chief Minister of West Bengal, and they're also raising the obstruction for the hearing that happened on the very next day at the Calcutta High Court, where the judge could not hear the matter, got left for her chamber and passed an order of adjournment of this hearing till the 14th of January, causing a further delay in the ED's investigation. So now the matter is being heard in the Supreme Court, where the Enforcement Directorate is reiterating the kind of, roadblocks it takes here in West Bengal, highlighting these obstructions to ensure that the Supreme Court takes action against the West Bengal government and passes an order in favor of the Enforcement Directorate.
All right, now let's also just take our viewers through what's happening inside the Supreme Court. Kapil Sibal has started speaking as well. He is, like I said, representing Mamata Banerjee. He is the counsel for Mamata Banerjee and the Trinamool Congress. Kapil Sibal has asked some very valid questions as well, Shreyashi. Some of them are, what was the need to go there in the midst of election season? Last development in the coal scam, that is the basis on which that raid was conducted according to the Enforcement Directorate. So Kapil Sibal says the last development in the coal scam case took place in February 2024. What were they doing there in 2026? So Shreyashi, you have the Trinamool Congress in the top court questioning the timing of these raids.
Well, that's right. The Chief Minister herself has also alleged that all this is being done at the behest of the Bharatiya Janata Party, where the ED has been sent here in West Bengal to take away confidential party data that is with the IPAC and belongs to the Trinamool Congress, because the IPAC has been assisting the Trinamool Congress for the past 6 years. But also the allegations that the ED has made is very important in this case. It has said that IPAC has, and especially Prateek Jain, has been a beneficiary of Hawala money that has come into IPAC in crores. And the Enforcement Directorate, in its official statement on January 8th, had, spoken out about these Hawala links in the alleged coal smuggling scam, which led them to the IPAC office, saying that Hawala money was parked in IPAC's accounts. And
just hold on for a moment, Shreyashi. I do have Priyanka Tibrawal from the BJP joining me on the phone line. Ms. Tibrawal, I'm going to come to you in a moment from now. A quick recap, even for your benefit, of what's happening inside India's top court on this hearing. You have Kapil Sibal, who is the counsel for the Trinamool Congress, now saying IPAC, as we all know, takes care of the elections in West Bengal. There's a formal contract between the TMC and IPAC in 2021. Justice Mishra then goes on to say elections in West Bengal, is it conducted by the ECI or the IPAC? And then Kapil Sibal comes in to say all election data is confidential and it is all kept there. There will be a lot of information on candidates. Why was the news to go there in the midst of an election season? How do you respond to that, Ms. Tibrawal? Because it seems that one of the main issues here that are being put forth by the Trinamool Congress is that the coal scam was recorded in February 2024. Why were the raids conducted now?
Well, the Supreme Court has rightly pointed out that it is the Election Commission who is supposed to conduct the elections and not IPAC. See, they may be seeking help from IPAC, but does that stop the law from proceeding against a company if there has been any money laundering under the PMLA Act? No. It is not that they get shelter just because they are supporting a political party. They can be, investigated. There can be raids if there has been an illicit transfer of money somewhere. Coming more to it, and I think that was also correctly spoken by Mr. Tushar Mehta when he said that this is what happens when democracy takes over democracy. In a courtroom, there has to be a certain culture. It is not that a mob can take over democracy.
But
so
Priyanka, you also have
the
Trinamool Congress through Kapil Sibal, their counsel, saying that there is very sensitive data inside that office. Why conduct the raid now? How do we fight an election is something that Sibal has said inside the top court right now. Chairman has the right to protect it and thus went there. Your response?
I would like to ask learned Mr. Kapil Sibal that is there any law or a section which says that if there are certain documents which are politically related to some party or parties, then that particular place has to be cordoned and it cannot be investigated by agencies. There is no law as such. Tomorrow other people will say that, don't conduct any raid in this particular office because Congress has certain documents. Tomorrow DMK will say, don't conduct a raid because DMK has documents. Is that possible? There has to be legality in the submissions which are made by Mr. Kapil Sibal.
All right, Priyanka, thanks for joining me there on the phone line here on Breaking Ground. Shreyashi is also still with us on the phone line there. Quick recap for our viewers of all that's happened in the last 35 minutes inside the top court. Some very scathing charges made by the Enforcement Directorate. They have said that this is an instance of theft also by Mamta Banerjee. She walked in, she picked up files, she picked up sensitive information and she walked out. The Enforcement Directorate wants heads to roll. They want the suspension of the top cops who were involved. But now you have Kapil Sibal who was speaking. Initially it was Tushar Mehta, the Solicitor General. Now you have Kapil Sibal who represents Mamta Banerjee speaking at this moment inside the top court, and he has also made some points here. The big takeaway, Shreyashi, is the questioning of the timing of this raid that was conducted inside the office of the IPAC and the house of the co-founder of IPAC. That's the top comment there made by Kapil Sibal, the top argument by him, and then he goes on to even talk about confidential data and how this could impact the upcoming election in the state.
Absolutely. There was a showdown between the Enforcement Directorate and the Chief Minister just last Thursday, and 7 days later another matter is being heard in the Supreme Court where the fresh showdown is taking place. Now, what happened last Thursday? Last Thursday, the Enforcement Directorate early morning along with Central Force had reached the IPAC office and the residence of its director, Pratik Jain's residence in Kolkata, and was conducting search operations as per their statutory guidelines, following all the legal norms with a search warrant along with them. But Chief Minister Mamta Banerjee reached Pratik Jain's residence at noon along with the Police Commissioner of Kolkata. Earlier, the DCP had visited the spot saying that they had received a complaint of trespassing. They ascertained whether they are actually ED officials or not. Their IDs were checked and a briefing was given to both the Kolkata Police Commissioner as well as the House Vyogata Roy. Thereafter, the Chief Minister walked out with a green file, a laptop and Pratik Jain's mobile phone, saying that she will not let the ED steal data from the Trinamool
All right,
Congress.
and do stay with me because I do have TMC's Mohammad Tawfiq Rehman on the phone line with us. Mr. Rehman, thank you for speaking to us here on Breaking Ground. A lot happening inside the top court as we speak, but some of the points being made by the Enforcement Directorate is what I want you to counter, of course, at this point, which is that they are saying this was theft by Mamta Banerjee when she walked off with sensitive data. Your response?
Good afternoon, everyone. See, ED has a right to say whatever they want to say. We have a fundamental right and right of privacy, right of fundamental things. And we will go by the law as well because we are not going to jump the gun at any time. And we will not allow anyone to sabotage our 2026 West Bengal election, And so let's see and wait for the court reaction, whatever the Honorable Supreme Court says, and we will follow it. It's as simple as that. But yes, whatever happened yesterday at the High Court was worth seeing because Mr. Raju was interrupting continuously and he had no idea about what he's saying as well because he was talking about caveat and there was no caveat. So let's wait and watch for the Supreme Court decision. Whatever the Supreme Court says, everyone has to follow that accordingly.
Kapil Sibal has also said right now inside court that the Enforcement Directorate's allegations are to create prejudice. What prejudice is he talking about, sir?
See, these are the same people, they want president rule. These are the same people, they want to harass the people of Bengal. So this is what Kapil Sibal is want to tell all about this. अब आप देखो ना, आप कपिल सिब्बल जी जो भी कह रहे हैं वो सही है ना, बंगाल के लिए सही है. बट अगर कहोगे कि ईडी अपने वहाँ से कुछ बोल रहा है या सीबीआई इंक्वायरी चाहिए इनको, तो वी हैव टू वेट एंड वॉच इट एज सिंपल दैट. मुझे अभी टीवी पे बोल के मैं क्या ही बोल दूंगा आपको, बिकॉज सुप्रीम कोर्ट का जो भी डिसीजन है वी हैव टू सी टू इट. वी हैव टू वेट एंड वॉच.
So the Trinamool Congress there going ahead and presenting their version here on Breaking Ground. Anushka also joining me live. She's going to tell us more about the Enforcement Directorate's claims, defense at this point. Anushka, before I come to you, I just want to read out again what's happening inside court. We're trying to get you every comment made inside, tracking all developments inside and outside the Supreme Court on this very big story here on Breaking breaking ground. So you have Kapil Sibal arguing for the Mamata Banerjee government. He goes on to say, completely malafide attempt by the Enforcement Directorate for trying to get confidential party data. Kapil Sibal then says Enforcement Directorate reached at about 6:20 a.m. and Chief Minister came at about 12 p.m. and left at 12:15 p.m. We are also very disturbed as to why the Enforcement Directorate shall wait for 2 years and then go to a place which is a part of a party office. Then he goes on to show the video recordings. He's saying, please see the video recording. It is a blatant lie that all digital devices were taken. Anushka, tell us more about the Enforcement Directorate's defense on all these claims being made by the Trinamool Congress, the Bengal Government's Council, represented by Kapil Sibal inside the top court.
Well, that's right, Vedika. We are seeing an intense showdown that is going inside the Supreme Court between the Mamata Banerjee's lawyer, and we are seeing that the SG Tushar Mehta is in fact also keeping out ED's perspective in this whole case. We did see that when the ED went to the IPAC office, we saw how the state Mamata Banerjee, who's the Chief Minister of West Bengal, had barged inside the IPAC office and at the director's house, and she had taken several documents that were connected to this case, which the ED had opposed. Now, they had taken this case to the High Court, where the High Court was disrupted, and the ED has in fact also argued in this case that the High Court was intentionally disrupted so that the case cannot be discussed, after which the Enforcement Directorate went to the Supreme Court stating this whole matter. Now, the Supreme Court is in fact also trying to understand why this whole matter took place. The ED and in fact SG Tushar Mehta has clearly said that in this whole case, if things like this happen, and the Mamata Banerjee government is known to conduct these kind of acts more than often, and that is why there is a need to issue notices to the people who are in fact involved in this particular act. The ED has asked for the suspension of the people who are present there. They have also mentioned how an ED officer's phone was taken away from him. So this is somehow going to in fact demoralize the central agency forces. He has also underlined how this whole, the whole money that is laundered when ED finds out the money trail, the money directly goes to the people from whom the money was in fact taken away. And this was a PMLA. The rates were in fact going under the PMLA Act, after which the IPAC had in fact taken that, this whole case was in fact taken. Now, we are seeing that Kapil Sibal himself has argued that what was the necessity for the ED to barge in during the time of election, to which we are seeing the Mamata Banerjee government is in fact right now arguing, saying that ED has a habit of showing up at the doors of people when the election takes place, and that is how the Mamata Banerjee government is right now arguing on this case. But we are seeing that on the merits, if we discuss about this, the Supreme Court has clearly mentioned that if such act is taking place, then where does the onus really lies on? Because we are seeing that the Mamata Banerjee government is clearly stating and accusing the ED that there were many party details, the information about the strategy of the TMC that were mentioned in the particular files that Mamata Banerjee took away with her when she left the IPAC office. But we are seeing that in this case, the ED is surely arguing about what kind of precedent this is going to set, and if this goes unnoticed, and maybe in different parts of places where the ED goes to raid, places where the whole corruption act is in fact taking place, and this is going to encourage other people also to do the similar thing. And that is why we are seeing that Tushar Mehta is arguing about this whole case. He has in fact taken precedent into this, and has in fact also argued that if this goes on, this is going to demoralize the central agencies and further hinder the whole process of the investigation that is in fact going on. Over to you.
Anushka, do stay with me. I'm going to come back to you in a moment from now. More details emerging from the hearing, which is ongoing inside the Supreme Court, India's top court, where the Supreme Court has grilled Kapil Sibal over claims that the Enforcement Directorate was after confidential documents. You cannot stop us from issuing the notice, is what the top court has told Kapil Sibal. If the ED wanted, they could have seized the files. Sibal then goes on to say, or they could just take pictures of these files without seizing. Then Justice Mishra has said if they had any intention to seize your election data, they would have taken it, but they did not. You cannot stop us from issuing the notice, where Kapil Sibal then says, of course, we can't. We are only trying to persuade you. So a lot of drama inside the top court as well. One, it's over what happened inside the High Court on the 9th. You have a very strong comment even coming in from Tushar Mehta on behalf of the Enforcement Directorate, where they said this is mobocracy over democracy. Now, Anushka, you have the TMC claiming that they're victims in this case. They're saying that the centre is using ED as a tool against them. And then you have the top court now observing that if the Enforcement Directorate wanted to, they could have taken all that sensitive data with them if they had to. What has the ED's defense been on TMC's claims here?
Well, that's right, Vedika. We are seeing that the Mamata Banerjee government is right now arguing that there were sensitive details regarding to the election strategy that were inside the files which Mamata Banerjee took away, to which the ED has firmly replied that only a fool would take away those details, when all the details of the SIR, that is the special intensive review that is conducted in every states right now, that we are seeing that the information regarding the SIR is very easily available on the website. So there is no need to in fact take away the files whose details is very much there in the website that the ED can very easily take. So we are seeing that the Supreme Court has in fact maintained the fact that if ED wanted, they could have taken away all those sensitive files which Mamata Banerjee had taken away during the time the raids were in fact conducted. Tushar Mehta has clearly said that this is mobocracy over democracy. There was an attempt to hinder the High Court also when the ED approached the High Court, stating that this whole case was in fact a plan to disrupt the ED's raid that was going on in the IPAC office. We have seen in this case the Supreme Court has told Kapil Sibal that they cannot stop the Supreme Court from issuing notice to the people who were involved when the files were taken away during the time of raids. We have seen that FIRs were filed against the ED officers. There was this case that was registered against the ED regarding trespassing and criminal intimidation is the FIR that was registered against the ED, to which Tushar Mehta has clearly stated that this takes away the onus from the ED, and also that this is going to set precedent if ED goes to conduct election raids on any different state where the election is right now going on. Then this is going to set a very negative precedent for the ED, and it is going to demoralize the central agency for conducting further raids. The money that ED collects after doing these kind of raids and the proceeds of crime clearly goes into the funds of people who have suffered at the hands of corruption or any kind of activities. So now we are seeing that the ED is maintaining the fact that they were conducting raids that was connected to the Goa election. It all happened between 2022 to 2024, and we are seeing that Kapil Sibal has argued that when the last update came in 2024, then what was the requirement for the ED to barge inside the office of IPAC in 2026? Now, to which the ED has in fact said that a fresh case had emerged, and that is why ED came to the doors of the IPAC office and also at the house of the chairperson Prateek Jain. We have seen how the state administration was there outside the gates where the raids were conducted. FIRs were filed on the ED officers who were conducting the raids, and now we are seeing that the Supreme Court has
More news coming in from the top court. Anushka, bear with me for a moment. I'm trying to get all the live updates to our viewers as quickly as possible. Kapil Sibal has also said to the Supreme Court on Enforcement Directorate's raids in Kolkata that this should be heard by the Calcutta High Court. Proper hierarchy should be followed. Enforcement Directorate is filing parallel proceedings, is the plea there by Kapil Sibal as well. Let's just take a step back for a moment to look at the big picture politically over this. I have Ankit Tyagi also joining me live. Ankit, SIR till now was the main issue. The main issue for the political face-off ahead of the state elections between the BJP and Mamata Banerjee's party. Now, in the last 2 weeks, we've seen this issue of the enforcement raid really take center stage, making that fight even more bitter between the two fierce political rivals.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. And just ahead of, a few months before the elections, in fact, a couple of months now left for West Bengal election, this also goes in a way that both sides, the centre, largely the BJP and Mamata Banerjee, want to play this election out. And while you were, like you said, a larger political picture, the constant theme has been that Mamata Banerjee works outside the realm of the constitution. She doesn't care, and West Bengal is being run as a fiefdom. That's the charge that the BJP has time and again made on the Bengal Chief Minister. And with the ED, this is not the first time that a central agency has been at loggerheads with Mamata Banerjee. Remember, there was a massive, apart from the Election Commission earlier as well, with the BSF, there were a lot of, war of words between the centre and the West Bengal Chief Minister, where she, in fact, in one election, accused the central forces of helping the BJP. And since then, she has been in this street fighter mode. On the other hand, Mamata Banerjee and the TMC would want to paint painted as some sort of a attack on their federalism, on their rights as a state, with the ED coming in. The Kapil Sibal arguing on the same line, saying that they were after some sort of confidential data of the party, which did not which had nothing to do with the case in which the ED is probing the IPAC and Mr. Jain. Now, the question here that the Supreme Court is asking is the way and the manner in which it has been made a political arena, in which messages were circulated for the TMC supporters to come to the High Court even when the High Court was hearing this matter. Meanwhile, Kapil Sibal has once again argued and said that, the ED is trying to open multiple fronts. One petition is in the High Court, the other one in the Supreme Court. So they are only trying to divert from the real issues because the proceedings and the Panchnama is with them. They should have, at that point of time, in fact, raised this question of obstruction in their work, which they are now claiming. But Vedika, largely the battle and the messaging is political. For Mamata Banerjee, she wants to resume her street fighter image. For her supporters, she would not give an inch before the elections. And for the BJP, they want to term her as somebody ruling against the set rules and parameters of the constitution.
All right, before I go back to both Ankit as well as Anushka, quick recap. On your screens, you can even see the claim and the counter being made by the Enforcement Directorate Council versus Mamata Banerjee's counsel, where they're going on to saying there's a clear theft by Mamata Banerjee, while you have the Bengal government saying that the ED tried to steal party poll information. So there's a theft and counter theft charge that you can see that is also being made. Then you also have the Enforcement Directorate coming out and saying that Mamata barged into the raid when the raid was on. You have the Trinamool Congress Council, the Bengal Government Council, Kapil Sibal, saying that the raid started at 6 o'clock. Mamata Banerjee only entered at 12 noon. Also, Abhishek Manu Singhvi is also a part of the council. He is representing the state government as well as the DGP. And Abhishek Manu Singhvi now is arguing, saying that in the case the Supreme Court issues a notice, it should be said that maintainability of this will be heard. Singhvi argues that the High Court should be hearing this matter. So that's what we're seeing, Anushka. We're seeing both the representatives of the Bengal Government Council as well as the representative for the top cop there wanting to push this case back to the Calcutta High Court at this point.
That's right, Vedika. We did see that the ED had first approached the Calcutta High Court in this whole case. We have seen how this whole case went on at Calcutta High Court, where a lot of disruption was in fact created, after which the Calcutta High Court had said that they will be hearing this matter on 14th, after which the ED had to approach the Supreme Court. Now we are seeing that the state government, that is the West Bengal government, is right now arguing that the ED was trying to, in fact, create a kind of statement during the time of election. We have seen that Kapil Sibal has continuously said this in his argument that during the time of election, the central agencies are being used at the behest of the central government, at which the Solicitor General Tushar Mehta had said that that there's no proper notification that has been issued for the election that is going in that is about to take place in West Bengal. We are seeing that this whole state government, Kapil Sibal has been in fact arguing that in this whole case, when the raid started, it started around 6 a.m. in the morning, and Mamata Banerjee reached the office around 12 p.m. in the noon, while the ED is arguing that there was a clear attempt to theft that was made by Mamata Banerjee, to which we are seeing that the argument is right now going on. The Supreme Court has clearly stated to Kapil Sibal that they cannot stop the Supreme Court from issuing notice, to which Kapil Sibal has said that they are only trying to persuade the Supreme Court, the top court, which is right now hearing the matter. We're also seeing that Kapil Sibal is trying to say that in this whole case, Calcutta High Court should be hearing this matter. And now we are seeing that they are also claiming that the ED is right now trying to open multiple fronts in this whole case. But we are seeing so far that, there's a clear showdown that is, and very intense showdown that is going on inside the Supreme Court, where the ED is clearly, the Tushar Mehta is clearly stating that if this goes on, then this will set the precedent for other raids as well.
Yes.
Anyone will try to barge in where the raids are going on, and this is an attempt to stop ED from doing its job. And the money that ED collects via this whole case, the corruption case, it straight goes to the accounts of the people who have suffered at the hands of the corruption. So now we are seeing that the ED
All
is
right,
arguing
Anushka, I just have a
Court.
couple of minutes left, and I want to bring in Tejshri, who's now joining us from outside the Supreme Court. Tejshri, very quickly, the 5 big takeaways from that heated argument going on inside the top court for almost an hour now.
Well, number one, let us talk about so as to what the Solicitor General Tushar Mehta has been stating. He has been recounting all those incidents that took place outside at the High Court during the time of hearing. 3 FIRs, CCTV not present, and in a way the mob was in fact called. They were not the lawyers, but it was a mob who was called. Number two, Supreme Court should set a precedent after giving during this hearing, or in fact to set such a kind of an example that next time if there is an agency that goes in the state of West Bengal, there is no hindrance to it, or they are not even threatened. So such an example should be set. Number three, if we talk about what the lawyers of the TMC have been stating, advocates Kapil Sibal and Abhishek Manu Singhvi, they are questioning the timing so as to why in the year 2026, because it was January 24, in the year 2024 when the last statements in the coal scam in the money laundering case were taken. Then now why the ED has stepped in right now when there are elections in the state of West Bengal. Supreme Court has stated that this is a very serious matter and you cannot stop us from issuing a notice. This is what they have stated. So that's the latest update that we are getting you from the court. Now needs to be seen that what happens, because there are very quite strong arguments going on from the side of TMC or advocates of TMC and advocates of ED as well. Needs to be seen that how Supreme Court takes this matter, because in fact if we talk about the Supreme, because if we talk about what Abhishek Manu Singhvi and Kapil Sibal have been stating, they are stating that if Supreme Court issues the notice, then it should first decide whether the case is even maintainable or not. Back to you.
All right, Tejshri, Ankit, Anushka, thank you for joining me live on that big story. This is not going to end anytime soon, viewers. It's been over an hour that we've seen this heated argument between the two sides continue in India's top court. We'll be on top of the story, bringing you all the live observations by the judges there, all the arguments being made by Kapil Sibal, Abhishek Manu Singhvi, and the Solicitor General of India. Thank you for watching. We'll be back in a moment from now. Stay tuned.
Hello, Moto.
Motorola, India's leading AI smartphone brand. Motorola Edge 70, India's only ultra-thin phone with 3x50 MP cameras. Grab Motorola Edge 70 today.
Pulling us into this country.
They argue, I conclude. They deflect, I drill down. This isn't a free-for-all. It's a reckoning. No filler, no fog. Only the facts and where they lead. Every night at 9, the case closes because the buck stops here.
Mumbai are bringing our first India tour in your city. Rag on with Shankar Ehsan Loy and Siddharth Mahadevan and Shivam Mahadevan. 5 times melody, 5 times masti with NDTV Good Times.
इनको यहाँ से जाना ही होगा. जय मां दुर्गा!
There is no bigger battle in 2026. And nobody has reported Bengal like I have. Buckle up for an unforgettable election thriller. Will the BJP breach Mamta's fortress?
BMC जावे, BJP आसमे.
Can Didi fight off her life's biggest challenge?
BJP double engine সরকার এই লড়াই বাঁচতে হবে.
Battleground Bengal with Manogya Loiwal.
The front lines of Kargil. The fury of Operation Sindoor.
so many attacks.
The chaos and cries of disaster zones to fighter jet cockpits and the world's most defining interviews.
It's incredible.
He has seen history break. Live, unfiltered. 20,000 hours of live broadcasting.
Welcome to Left, Right and Centre.
Hard facts.
War-struck country.
Hard questions.
In the Ukraine.
30 years of trust.
In the Kargil area.
North Ukraine. In France. In Italy. At Srinagar. Vishnu Shom for NDTV.
Vishnu Shom. Only on NDTV. Every winter, the World Economic Forum at Davos becomes the world's thinking room, where power, policy and purpose converge, where the future is examined and reimagined. In January 2026, NDTV will be at the heart of this conversation. NDTV Ignite at Davos, this January on the NDTV network.
"21 days in Kashmir. People have bombarded me, friends, with requests for an unfiltered list of things I saw and observed on the ground. Very special ground report from the line of control. There were some children who've lost limbs in the shelling. They are now India's smallest but possibly the most powerful crime family. Cough syrup has killed at least 25 children. Gaikwad sahab, aise mat kijiye. Suddenly people are wondering about the weaponization of India-Pakistan cricket. We live and breathe elections. You will not believe your eyes or ears when I show you what I'm about to do.
And for a country that has fought so many wars in the mountains and at high altitude.
We're standing on the Indian Navy's newest warship. The line of control, Shiv Arun, NDTV.
Final countdown to Maha Clash. Battle for BMC gets super vicious. Ill-tempered fight gets uglier. Thakre's roar at challengers. Mahayuti sniffs another victory. Unmissable build-up on NDTV. Battleground, BMC.
Across the country.
He has tracked the pulse of power from Washington to Korea. Witnessed history being made in global capitals and conflict zones. Brought clarity to complex issues of national security and international affairs. Aditya Raj Kaul, covering international affairs like no one else, only on NDTV network.
Straight from the heart of the newsroom to the core of the stories shaping your world. Join me, Gargi Raut, as I track all the developments as they break. Live from the NDTV newsroom, weekdays at 4 p.m.
What seems settled for me is unfinished business. So I rewind, I pause, I reflect, I dig until what's buried stands up to be counted. Breaking ground, not just headlines, the meaning behind them. This is Breaking Ground with me, Vedika Sud.
I don't sugarcoat. I shoot straight and tell you stories the way they need to be told. Unfiltered, unafraid, unmissable. That's how I roll. Watch me, Priyanka Deo, on NDTV World. Namaste.
The first Indian news channel at the World Economic Forum at Davos. 21 years at the heart of the world's most influential dialogue.
Continuing to make sure that the poorest are not forgotten.
Big enough, brave enough, bold enough
to face the critics.
We've been doing more and more improvements.
We are the fastest growing amongst the major economies.
Both of us are interested in these.
Young girls aren't in school because they're scavenging for water for the family.
We need to get out of the way and into the work of breaking open access for each and everyone.
Now, India's most trusted news network returns to the Alps.
Well, the battle between Mamata Banerjee, West Bengal Chief Minister, and ED has reached Supreme Court today, with both sides putting forth some very powerful arguments. ED has accused the Chief Minister of theft of digital devices, while the Chief Minister's lawyers have questioned the timing of the raids. And also, BMC polls are underway. 29 municipal corporations in the state of Maharashtra are voting today. Mumbai ka boss kaun banega? That's the big question. All of that and more coming up. But first up, the headlines. Fiery ED versus Mamata Banerjee in Supreme Court over IPAC raids now. ED's big charge says Mamata Banerjee took away officer's phone. Mamata Banerjee's lawyers, however, have said the Chief Minister took just the phone that had poll and party information. A big blow to TVK Chief Vijay's Jananayakan. Supreme Court junks the plea against censor board, asks Jananayakan makers to go back to Madras High Court. Top Court has said High Court will decide on this appeal on the 20th of January. High-stakes BMC polls are underway now. Mumbai is voting. Title defense for Thakre's. Devendra Bhau sniffs victory. Survival battle for Thakre's big test for Bhau Shinde Jodi. Meanwhile, it's Pongal and Makar Sankranti. Jallikattu season has kick-started. More than 1,000 bulls part of Jallikattu. Tamers are participating in large numbers, and 1,000 police personnel have also been put on spot for security. Those visuals there of 78th Army Day Parade in Jaipur. India salutes its brave, valor in step, honor in heart. Operation Sindoor braves at Army Day Parade. BrahMos on display. Meanwhile, excess stopped talk from undressing images of real people after backlash. This comes after strong warnings issued from several countries, including India. And Mamata Banerjee, West Bengal Chief Minister, is being heard in the Supreme Court today, with both sides presenting some very strong arguments. ED has charged Mamata Banerjee of committing robbery and theft. ED has said that this is not just theft but also robbery by Mamata Banerjee, the Chief Minister of West Bengal. ED has made this charge against the Chief Minister, saying that there's a prima facie case and that they've demonstrated that there is cognizable offence in this, while the lawyers of the Chief Minister have also responded, questioning the timing of the raids. They've also said that all that Mamata Banerjee took away from the site of the raid was the personal laptop of Pratik Jain, who heads the consultancy firm IPAC, which is at the center of the storm, which was being raided on that day. And they've also said that there was nothing else that she allegedly stole from the scene. My colleague Shreyasi joins us with more details on this. Shreyasi, what is the crux of the argument that is being made by both sides here?
Well, Vasudha, the showdown between the Enforcement Directorate and Mamata Banerjee that began last week continues in the Supreme Court today. Now, the ED has alleged that Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee created obstruction and also stole the documents that the ED was, investigating and had seized. There was search operations being conducted in the alleged coal scam case. They had the requisite documents for the search operation, and they had arrived at two locations, especially that is the IPAC office and IPAC Director Pratik Jain's residence here in Kolkata. Now, the arguments that are being made in the Supreme Court, the ED has alleged that Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee has taken away the documents that were under its purview for investigation from IPAC Director Prateek Jain's residence as well as the IPAC office in Kolkata. On the other hand, the Trinamool Congress has alleged that their sensitive political data, confidential data related to not just the SIR campaign that is currently underway in the state, but also the upcoming Vidhan Sabha election has been stolen by the ED, and this has been done at the behest of the BJP. Now, the Trinamool Congress has charged 4 FIRs against the ED officers who were conducting the searches from its Delhi team. Now, the Kolkata police as well as the Bidhannagar police in its FIR has slapped charges of criminal intimidation, trespassing as well as theft against the ED officers, and the investigation for that is on. The ED has alleged that they were obstructed from carrying out legal search operations that they had been certified to conduct here in West Bengal, and has also asked for action against the senior IPS officers who had created obstruction along with Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee at both the search operations, especially at Prateek Jain's residence, naming the DGP, the Kolkata Police Commissioner, as well as DCP South, under whose jurisdiction Prateek Jain's residence falls. Now, the ED in the court has also raised the kind of commotion that was created inside Calcutta High Court on the 9th of January when the matter had come up for hearing before the single bench of Justice Shubhra Ghosh, who adjourned the matter within 15 minutes because of the commotion inside the court and she not being able to hear either the petitioner or the respondent. So all these points are being raised against and
the Supreme Court for us. Nupur, Shreyasi made all those important points that was observed in the court today, but the Supreme Court asking ED as to why the High Court cannot decide on this matter, and that now hearing will resume past lunch, and the fact that last time it went to the High Court, there was so much commotion that even the judge vacated her chair. What do you make of this?
Well, Vasudha, we need to understand the Supreme Court's point of view in this. As you must remember that mostly in such cases where the matter is sub judice in the High Court, the Supreme Court asks the petitioners to go back there and first complete the case there. So that's what the Mamata government and the state authorities of West Bengal have been arguing, that they want the case to be continued at the High Court level. Now the Supreme Court asked ED. First of all, remember the Supreme Court has made very strong remarks against the West Bengal government, saying that it is very disturbed by the incident, especially in the High Court on 9th of January, where a commotion of lawyers tried to enter the court where the hearing was scheduled, and in fact it was found that it was orchestrated via WhatsApp messages. That was what the submissions were made on behalf of ED today in the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court was at the very first very inclined to issue notice on this case and to bring this case to the Supreme Court from the High Court. But now, after hearing Kapil Sibal and Abhishek Manu Singhvi, the Supreme Court has just asked the Enforcement Directorate to explain that why at this level the matter cannot be heard by High Court, because the Supreme Court straight away taking up the matter would also indicate poorly on how the matters are dealt at the High Court and the Supreme Court level. There have been past precedences, especially in highly political sensitive cases, where the Supreme Court has said that the matter will be first heard at the High Court level. So right now, in case if the Supreme Court decides to hear this case here and issue notice today on this case, this will be in fact an exceptional case and a precedent also a very exceptional case, because it is very rare that the
Joining us, Jayantuda, the fact that ED has asked for the suspension of Rajiv Kumar, the DGP, saying that he obstructed the operations of ED there, the fact that so many political consultancies are also, at the center of this controversy. IPAC has been working with the Chief Minister and, of course, TMC for the last 5 years. There was a lot of drama, there was a lot of performance, there was a lot of politics involved in this raid. But given that both sides have presented very strong arguments, what do you think of it?
Actually, it's a very highly sensitive time, and West Bengal election is always like this. But you know, what happened in the court. Now, Shreyasi has explained and she has narrated what had happened. But the political consequences, what you are asking, that both the side, BJP and TMC, BJP and Mamta, both the sides are ready for any eventuality. Yesterday, I'm in Calcutta. Yesterday, I met Mamta Banerjee because she was inaugurating one Pitambari Devi temple near Kalighat. And she was in a very good mood. The body language is very, interesting. I came to know from the TMC sources that they are ready for any eventuality. We cannot predict what Supreme Court will say. That's a judicial issues. But the political consequences, the plan A, plan B, because Rajiv, he's a DG of police, but he's retiring this month. If he is suspended, it will be sad for him that the suspended DG will retire. But eventually he is retiring. But not only the Rajiv Kumar, the eventuality, the possibility of arrest of Pratik Jain, that also TMC expecting that can be happened. And FIR against CM, because, an FIR can follow arrest also. And Mamta is politically, she is ready for the arrest eventuality also. Because the election time, but the BJP, that political analysis inside the BJP, that if court issues FIR, that doesn't mean that you have to arrest Chief Minister immediately. There will be no time, span. And Kejriwal and
talking about Kejriwal, and also because I would want to come on the political aspects a little later. Ankit Tyagi joins us also, Anushka, who covers ED, and Ankit has been following politics for a long time. Ankit, this all reminds me of that case against Kejriwal, ED, CBI and EDI. There's a lot of discussion as to who should be the accused here. Should it be the party? Should it be the Chief Minister? Is it very normal for investigating agencies to go against an elected Chief Minister like this?
And take this in context, Vasudha, what we have seen in the last few years, the charge of the opposition, whether it is Hemant Soren, Arvind Kejriwal, or any chief minister of the opposition, they claim that it is, of course, an orchestration of the Bharatiya Janata Party, an extension of the central government. But I just want to, as Jayantoda was saying, the political eventuality of this, there is a difference. Arvind Kejriwal also showed defiance, but the way Mamta Banerjee came out when the raid was going on, at that point of time, Arvind Kejriwal went to jail and he did not resign. But the fact is that Mamta Banerjee chose to come out and fight on the street. That goes to her core political vote bank. The street fighter Mamta Banerjee, something that she will, go to her voters and say, I am not going to give an inch to the BJP and the agencies as the claim of the TMC would be. So largely, if you look at it, if the ED continues and the Supreme Court issues any order, politically Mamta Banerjee is going to make a meal out of that. She would be on the street. She would keep going on saying that this is an attack on not on Mamta Banerjee, but an attack on the whole, the Bengali tradition, which the BJP doesn't understand. And if the DGP is suspended, or Pratik Jain is arrested, or Mamta Banerjee is named in this case, in a politically sensitive time just before the elections, I think that will give much more ammunition to Mamta Banerjee than BJP would have anticipated.
Right, that's right, Ankit. Everybody will remember, like Jayantoda would also agree, Mamta Banerjee going to the neighborhood where Pratik Jain lives and asking very clearly Pratik Jain's Bari Kothai. That's something everyone will remember because she's seen as the street fighter. Shresi has been covering this, but we have Anushka with us. Anushka, what is the crux of what the ED has said today? What kind of arguments did they present?
This largely we are seeing that a lot of optics and political showdown has been going on after the ED has raided the premises of IPAC and also the residence of Pratik Jain, who's the director of IPAC. Now in this whole case, we did see that ED had started the raids around 6 a.m. in the morning, after which we saw when at around 12 p.m. in the noon, Mamta Banerjee barged inside the office and collected the key documents that were in fact there during the time the raids were conducted, to which the ED has made serious charges against the Mamta Banerjee government, stating that she is not just the Chief Minister but also Home Minister of Bengal. And also ED has said that necessary FIR should be registered against the people who were working in connivance with the Mamta Banerjee government during the time the raids were conducted, including the DGP of Kolkata. Now we are seeing that in this case, ED has clearly stated that this is an attempt not just for theft but also dacoity, and there should be in fact necessary step taken regarding this whole case. Now, as as far as ED is concerned, this is the first time that some political leader has come out on streets and has disrupted the raids that were going on inside this. We have seen that the West Bengal government has, registered an FIR against trespassing and also criminal intimidation over the ED. ED has claimed that a phone of the ED officer had been taken away by Mamata Banerjee during the raids. And we have also seen that Tushar Mehta, who's the Solicitor General, has argued that this is going to demoralize the central agency in carrying out further raids in serious charges like PMLA, under which the whole raids were in fact going on inside the residence of Prateek Jain and also at the premises of the IPAC. Over to you.
So the hearing is underway now. Supreme Court is hearing the ED's petition against West Bengal Chief Minister, accusing her of interference while this lunch break now. Thank you all of you for joining me on this broadcast. We move on to other big stories today. Big setback for Team Vijay. There are more stories from the Supreme Court today. The Supreme Court today has refused to hear producers' pleas seeking urgent relief in the Jananayakan censor CBFC controversy. In fact, it has asked them to pursue the matter before the Madras High Court. The top court said that it was not inclined to hear the petition, even as makers pressed for an expedited hearing. The Supreme Court has asked the Madras High Court to take up this issue on the 20th of January. The producers had moved the Supreme Court against a Madras High Court division bench order that stayed a single judge direction to the CBFC to grant the film clearance with a UA certificate. Meanwhile, the CBFC, which is a Central Board of Film Certification, has filed a condition in the Supreme Court seeking that no order should be passed without hearing its side. This film, remember, is produced by KVN Productions. It's a blockbuster movie that was slated to be released on the 9th of January, and it is seen as the last movie before actor-turned-politician TVK Chief Vijay plunges into full-time politics. Remember that this controversy has also had a political play out in the state of Tamil Nadu that will witness polls in the next 2 months. Both DMK and the Congress party have blamed the centre for using the CBFC, for weaponizing the CBFC and for stopping this movie. But remember, the DMK-backed Parasakti is already in theatres. It was also a big Pongal release. Both these movies were supposed to be released around the same time. January 9th was supposed to be the release date for Jananayakan, Vijay's big blockbuster before he plunges into politics full-time. The audio release of this movie already happened in Malaysia. And now the Supreme Court today has refused to hear the producers' pleas seeking expedited hearing for the movie. Remember, moving on to other stories, a new twist has emerged in the Sanjay Kapoor's will dispute. As per sources, Samaira and Kyan Kapoor, the children of Karishma Kapoor, have sought criminal action against their father's second wife, Priya Kapoor. The siblings have also pointed out multiple loopholes, multiple discrepancies in the digital trail of the will that was presented in the Delhi High Court by Priya Kapoor. The siblings have accused Priya Kapoor of fabricating the will that excludes them from their inheritance. The fresh demand can now turn into what was just a partition suit into a criminal case. If convicted, Priya Kapoor could even face life imprisonment. In their submissions to the court, the siblings have said their father, who was businessman Sanjay Kapoor, and his wife Priya Kapoor were not in Gurgaon on the day the will was signed. The siblings have flagged mistakes, discrepancies, grammatical mistakes as well, and the mention of Safira Chatwal as Sanjay Kapoor's daughter. My colleague Nupur joins us with more details on this. Nupur covers the Supreme Court for us. Nupur, it's been a busy day for you, but help us understand an interesting twist in the Sanjay Kapoor inheritance saga. What is the latest that Karishma Kapoor's children have said?
Well, first of all, it is very interesting to, once we go through the submissions that they have now made in the court, there is a hearing scheduled on January 20th on these very grounds. They have in fact now sought criminal action against Priya Kapoor. In their detailed replies filed in the Delhi High Court, they have in fact said that neither of the attesting witnesses, that is two attesting witnesses to the will, Dinesh Kumar and Nitin Sharma, neither of them have in fact given written statements on record in the court saying that Priya or Sanjay were present in Gurgaon when the will was signed. They have also said that there is no trace of Sanjay. They have given detailed proofs in court saying that there is no trail of Sanjay in the digital trail that has been provided, claimed in the court by the Priya's lawyers, saying that Sanjay had seen the will, read the will, modified the will online in a Word document. Now it is also, they have also disputed as to who has originally drafted the will. Was it done by a lawyer or was it done by Nitin Sharma, the witness, who on whose document they have traced the origin of the screenshots of WhatsApp chats. They have also said they have proof to show that Karishma Kapoor was in fact in touch with Sanjay on 21st of March when the will is said to be signed by Sanjay. They were continuously discussing Portuguese citizenship for children, Samaya Kian, and it is impossible that Sanjay would not mention anything about the alleged will being drafted by him to either of the children when on 17th of March when the will was actually modified. He was constantly yes, I can hear you. Hello.
Understand what is Priya Kapoor's position in this? What are her lawyers saying with regard to this?
For now, Priya Kapoor's side has in fact disputed all these claims. They have said that they have a digital trail established to show that Sanjay Kapoor had in fact drafted and signed the will. But at the same time, Karishma's kids are disputing the same digital trail and are seeking criminal action against Priya for forging the will and also faking the signature on the will. They have said that they, in fact, in the next hearing, that is on 20th of January, in front of the judicial magistrate, Gagandeep Singh, they are supposed to file their submissions and proceedings will be recorded on whether there should be appointment of an administrator to look after this dispute and what has happened to the assets abroad. Because remember, the children have been claiming that a huge number of assets, including the demat account of Sanjay Kapoor and Kotak Mahindra bank accounts, have been transferred by Priya when she's just a nominee and they have contested the originality of the will. So this entire case has taken a criminal turn and they are, in fact, Karishma's kids are pressing for criminal sections of BNS to be invoked against Priya, while on the other hand, Priya has categorically denied all these allegations. They have maintained that this will is original and they will also be keeping their side in front of the Delhi High Court on 20th January.
What does this mean? Very basic question. What does this mean for the legal status of the will? Will it get amended? Is it being when does it get executed? Because it is being heard, does it mean that it will be stalled and it's not being amended right now?
Well, first of all, this is the exact issue that the children have raised in the High Court. High Court has reserved order on the prayers for seeking an interim stay on the bill. Now, if there is an interim stay by the order, by the High Court order on the will, then all the assets will be frozen. All the assets will be frozen. But the children are now concerned and they have also raised fresh issues seeking this criminal action, saying that even when the case is pending, she is just a nominee. The will is not probated. It's not legally probated and still she has went on to transfer several assets in her name and they don't know what is happening to those assets which are abroad. At the same time, Priya Kapoor has said that Delhi High Court as an Indian court has no jurisdiction over the assets that are in the foreign country, and several other arguments have been made by them. But for now, the interest of children of Karishma Kapoor, they say, are seriously jeoparded as till the time the case there is no stay from the High Court, till there is no freeze on the assets. They don't know what is happening to the assets that are abroad. Their late father.
Right. Nupur, one of the other interesting things that the siblings have flagged is also the mention of Safira Chatwal as Sanjay Kapoor's daughter. What is the concern with regard to that? Because Safira is clearly Priya's child, her daughter from an earlier marriage. And what concerns have the siblings, Karishma Kapoor's children, raised against the mention of her name in the will?
Well, Well, yes, they have in fact flagged several such issues. First of all, they have flagged that how is it possible that on 17th of March, Sanjay Kapoor amended the will when he was vacationing with Kian and had a very hectic day that he had to return to attend to Rani Kapoor as she had suffered from a fall. And on that very day, it has been noted in the written submissions in the court that the will was amended to include Safira Chatwal's name as daughter of Sanjay Kapoor. So they are saying that how can it be that first of all, it was never, they say, citing past instances, that it was never the case that she was officially acknowledged as daughter of Sanjay Kapoor. But now in the will, it is being seen that Safira is being named as daughter of Sanjay Kapoor, while Samaira and Kian, the first class heirs under the current law, who should have been the first class heirs in absence of the will, they are excluded from the personal assets. And till the time court did not direct it, a copy of the will was not served to Samaira and Kian, despite huge insistence by Karishma Kapoor and official communication again and again by Karishma Kapoor. There was no communication in this regard. No, the will copy was
Gargi
not.
Rawat joins us. Gargi has been tracking this case and she's also spoken to a lot of family members on this. Gargi, one of those partition suits is now likely to become a criminal case. What does this really show? Does it really project some sort of discrepancies in our succession laws, or is it just how some people, wealthy people, also explore those loopholes?
Right, Vasudha, I think for the moment we're still waiting to see, this is something that we have learned from, one side in the entire case, and that they will like to explore making it into a criminal case. We're still waiting for what the final judgment will be on the arguments that were made earlier regarding the will and the succession and, the splitting of the assets between the mother Rani Kapoor, the 3 children, as well as Priya Kapoor. I heard you asking about, the Safira Chatwal, the daughter that Priya Kapoor had from her earlier marriage, and whether she was, it's now being claimed that she was adopted by Sanjay. And I do know that the family members on Sanjay's side, have spoken to the sister, and they said that this was news to them at that time when it first emerged that Sanjay Kapoor had adopted her. So that was something that was really being questioned by Sanjay's family, his sister, his mother as well, because they had no inkling of this, and they were surprised that if he had taken such a big step, that it was something that they would have known about. That's what they had to say about it. Yes, I think this boils down to one particular family. Of course, there's a lot of money at stake. It's also, it's the tragedy, the tragic way that Sanjay died, while playing polo was absolutely shocking. I think from then on, there's been a lot of interest in this case, and of course, involving Karishma Kapoor as well, and that brings a whole other facet to it. It has been said that, Sanjay settled the children with Karishma, his 2 children there. He had already made a settlement towards them much before he died. He wanted to set all his, all these aspects at rest. So they obviously never expecting that he would die at the age of 53. But yes, there was a settlement that had been made to the children. But of course, the entire fortune is so much more. It's 30,000 crore, and one can imagine that Karishma's children are fighting for their right. And then there's Rani Kapoor as well, the mother, who has totally been left, as the family claims, with nothing. All her money, her shares, and a majority of the shares, remember, were left to Rani Kapoor by the father. They were put into a trust which she had been convinced to put in by her son at the time, that is a way that, people manage their money. So the money had been put into a trust, never imagining that her son would pass away before she did. And now she finds that everything, including the house that she used to live in Delhi, belongs to the trust. So that is where, a lot of the grievances have come up in this entire matter. The sisters, though, had also been settled. Their inheritance had been settled by their father earlier as well. Though we have heard, Mandira talking about maybe the mother, maybe Rani Kapoor would have liked a part of her shares to go to her other grandchildren as well. All that money now in the trust that is literally called the Rani Kapoor Trust, that is not under her control.
How is the family looking at all these allegations that the will is fabricated, and the fact that there are call records that are being scrutinized now, the fact that they've lost their son, 53 is no age to die, and the fact that there is a fight, there's a dispute for this 30,000 crore estate with two wives and, one ex-wife, one present wife, and at least and 3 children there. How is Sanjay Kapoor's family looking at this?
Well, right at the start, we saw earlier on when the final rites took place, the family all came together and the sisters were there, all the children were there as well. And it seemed like it would, everybody was getting along and things. We do know that earlier as well, there were some issues between Sanjay and his sister. They had contested. Mandira had been contesting some aspect of her inheritance. However, it did seem at the time that everybody was getting along. But after that, we have seen, a lot of allegations being made by, Mandira and the mother, claiming that at that point, they didn't realize that a lot of documents were being signed, that she claimed that her mother was taken into a room and made to sign certain documents. So these are all, claims that have been made, and that is when it emerged that there is something, there's a lot of dissatisfaction, and there are these allegations, and now it is when the actual details have emerged about this question over the will. The whispers of it were in Delhi for a while. One had been hearing, and Sanjay's family had been questioning this sudden appearance of a will, while certain aspects, as I said, the settlement towards his children with Karishma had been made earlier. The actual will, so a lot of questions, and there was a cloud over it at the time, and now it's all come out in the open. Again, this is something that is not there officially. We are still waiting to find, see what happens in the court, because the initial arguments were made, and the court is still to decide on those initial arguments. This is another aspect that has now emerged, and the possibility that Karishma's children could fight a criminal case as well over this contest regarding Sanjay Kapoor's will. But perhaps, Vasudha, also this is,
one side.
It's also a lesson that maybe families of, the high net worth individuals should perhaps, settle things in a very clear way, and one never knows what could happen next. So yes, I think that is something that we do know a lot of families across the country have realized, considering how ugly it has become in this particular case.
Absolutely. Thank you, Nupur, and thank you, Gargi, for joining us with those details. Inheritance battle pertaining to one of India's wealthiest families could be taking a criminal turn, is what we understand, but we'll have to wait and see what more details we get into this particular case. Well, as Mumbai votes today as part of BMC elections, Uddhav and Raj Thackeray have made some very important statements. Uddhav Thackeray has made this accusation that voters' names are being removed from voter lists and the indelible ink is being wiped off. That's the big charge that he has made. By Raj Thackeray, the chief of MNS, has made this big charge that the ink applied on the finger after voting gets wiped off with a sanitizer. That's the big claim that he has made. After voting, pens are being used instead of indelible ink. That's a big charge that he has made, citing indiscrepancies in voting procedures. Let's listen in to those reactions.
आजपर्यंत ती इंक लावली जायची बरं का आता काहीतरी नवीन पेन आणलंय आणि ते पेन मध्ये इतक्या तक्रारी सगळ्या बाजूनी येत आहेत की तुम्ही बाहेर पडल्यावरती त्याला जर सॅनिटायझर लावलं तर ती शाई जाते. म्हणजे संपूर्ण प्रशासन हे सत्तेसाठी कामाला लागलेलं आहे. आम्ही आमच्या परीने जे काही करायचंय ते करतोच आहोत बरं का, परंतु ही चांगली लोकशाहीची लक्षणं नाहीत बसणार. सत्तेचा किती गैरवापर करायचा याला पण काही मर्यादा मला असं वाटतं असायला हव्यात. आज निवडणुकीचा आज मतदानाचा दिवस आहे. आम्हाला जे हवं ते आम्ही करू.
मला वेगवेगळ्या ठिकाणातून मुंबईतून आणि इतर शहरातून पण फोन येत आहेत. निवडणूक याद्यांचा गोंधळ आहे, नावं वगळली जात आहेत, इथली तिथे जात आहेत, गोंधळ काय संपत नाहीये. शाई सुद्धा काही ठिकाणाची मला कळवण्यात आलं की वोटरची शाई पुसली जाते. मला असं वाटतं निवडणूक आयुक्त हे पगार कसला घेतात ह्याचाही आता खुलासा झाला पाहिजे आणि निवडणूक आयुक्तांवरती एक बंधन पाहिजे की 365 दिवस आता या तर 4 वर्ष म्हणजे एकूण पाहिलं तर महापालिका निवडणुका मुंबईची महापालिका निवडणुकी 9 वर्षांनी होते. मग 9 वर्ष जे निवडणूक आयुक्त आणि त्यांचा कर्मचारी वर्ग काय करत होता, आता रोज निवडणूक आयुक्तांना सुद्धा त्यांच्या साईटवरती आज त्यांनी काय केलं हे सांगणं बंधनकारक केलं पाहिजे.
Fighting this election together, Thackeray brothers are fighting this election together. There was an emotional reunion that happened a few days ago, and both the brothers have come together to fight this elections. Those visuals there of Eknath Shinde, Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra, also casting his vote. But remember, the Thackeray brothers have been making these accusations and there are problems with the election process. My colleague Ankit Tyagi joins us from Mumbai. Ankit, the Thackeray brothers, specifically Uddhav Thackeray, made these important accusations against the use of printing auxiliary display units just yesterday. He has also questioned the EVMs in the past, and now he is talking about voter lists. But let's first listen in to what the Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis is saying right now.
देखिए आपके सामने कर रहा हूँ, मीटर है. ऐसा है कि हो सकता है कि किसी का इसके ऊपर ऑब्जेक्शन हो, इलेक्शन कमीशन ने देखना चाहिए. और कुछ इस्तेमाल करना है तो करना चाहिए. मैं तो बोलता ऑयल पेंट करना है तो ऑयल पेंट करिए. चुनाव निष्पक्ष होने चाहिए, लेकिन हर चीज़ पर इस प्रकार से इशू तैयार करके मानो हमारे जो लोकतांत्रिक संस्थाएं हैं उन संस्थाओं के ऊपर एक प्रकार से प्रश्न चिन्ह निर्भर. अभी मैंने ये मार्कर मेरे को लगाया हुआ है. अब इसको मिटा के दिखाइए. देखिए कई मीटर है. देखिए आपके सामने कर रहा हूँ, कई मीटर है. ऐसा है कि हो सकता है कि किसी का इसके ऊपर ऑब्जेक्शन हो, इलेक्शन कमीशन ने देखना चाहिए. और कुछ इस्तेमाल करना है तो करना चाहिए. मैं तो बोलता ऑयल पेंट करना है तो ऑयल पेंट करिए. चुनाव निष्पक्ष होने चाहिए, लेकिन हर चीज़ पर इस प्रकार से इशू तैयार करके मानो हमारे जो लोकतांत्रिक संस्थाएं हैं उन संस्थाओं के ऊपर एक प्रकार से प्रश्न चिन्ह निर्भर. अभी मैंने ये मार्कर मेरे को लगाया हुआ है. अब इसको मिटा के दिखाइए.
Well, Ankit Tyagi joins us. Ankit, Uddhav Thackeray has been consistently raising questions on election process and the electoral process, and today he has even pointed to some very important accusations on the use of indelible ink. He's saying that it's not indelible ink, it's just pen that's being used. That's what Raj Thackeray said. What are they? What is the larger message that they're trying to give out? And did you also hear of similar cases amongst people in Mumbai?
Well, Vasudha, let me first tell you that we are coming to you from the nice and lovely weather in Mumbai here. It's in the late 20s. I left the cold weather of Delhi in the morning, and at this moment, in Bandra at least, behind me, there is, I won't call it a brisk pace, but still people are coming, and it's largely led by the elders here, those who are in fact proving to be an example for the young generation that if you want to make a difference, you will have to come out and vote. Having said that, let me also tell you that the political blame game, which continues, and this also we have seen, especially when the BJP is in rule and the opposition, it almost seems that they are trying to, in a way, create a narrative, tell their cadres especially that be vigilant as far as the voting is concerned. Now, this indelible ink, which is put as a mark that you have voted, there have been few cases
Ankit,
which have been
really
seen.
Sorry to disturb you. Uddhav Thackeray of Sena UBT is speaking now. Let's listen in.
जे मतदान केल्यानंतर घरी जाते ते खरंच आहे का की
असे वोटरचे 40 दुसऱ्या गाड्यांच्या तक्रारी येत आहेत. नंतर ती दुसरी क्लिप आहे बघा, भाजपच्या
फ्रेम लावना मागे विषय फ्रेम लाव
लाईट कर, एक्सपोजर कर. या तुमच्याच माध्यमातून बातम्या येत आहेत.
Well, Mumbai Mumbai votes today in a high-stakes battle for control of the country's richest civic body. This is in fact Asia's richest civic body with a budget of 74,000 crore. The BMC contest has turned into a fierce battle. Mumbai Mukabla with Eknath Shinde and Devendra Fadnavis's Mahayuti on one side, and the Thackeray camp, Uddhav Thackeray and Raj Thackeray coming together after several years, and its allies on the other. Voting is underway across 29 municipal corporations in Maharashtra, with 3.48 crore voters set to decide the fate of nearly 16,000 candidates. The spotlight is clearly and firmly on the BMC, with over 1,700 candidates contesting 227 seats after a 4-year delay. But polling underway is set to be on a very slow note, with just 18% turnout till 11:30 a.m. Meanwhile, opposition has cried foul, and MNS chief Raj Thackeray and Shiv Sena UBT chief Uddhav Thackeray have alleged chaos in booths, and they've also pointed out to discrepancies in voters' lists, saying that several deletions have happened, and they've also questioned the use of ink that they say is being wiped off, raising questions over conduct of the polls.
हमारी म्युनिसिपल कॉरपोरेशन का चुनाव हो रहा है। हमारे लोकतंत्र की एक ऐसी इकाई है जिसको हम लोकतंत्र की मूलगामी आधारशिला कह सकते हैं। इसलिए इसमें मतदान करना ये बहुत महत्वपूर्ण है। जिनका भारत के लोकतंत्र पर विश्वास है, ऐसे सभी लोगों से मेरी प्रार्थना है कि आप मतदान के लिए जाइए। मैं ऐसा मानता हूं कि मतदान ये केवल आपका अधिकार नहीं है, तो ये आपका कर्तव्य भी है। लोकतंत्र में अगर हम अच्छा शासन चाहते हैं तो हम मतदान के लिए जाएं। इसलिए मैंने भी मतदान किया है। मैं सभी को अपील करता हूं, आप भी मतदान कीजिए, बड़े से बड़ी संख्या में मतदान कीजिए। कोई भी अपने घर पे नहीं रुके, सभी लोग लोकतंत्र के इस उत्सव में सम्मिलित हो, ऐसा मैं सबसे निवेदन करता हूं।
It is a great privilege to participate in this festival of democracy. Mumbai is India's financial and commercial capital. We are all proud to be Mumbaikars. We see the future of a developed and prosperous nation from the lens of Mumbai's progress and growth. I appeal to every Mumbaikar to exercise their right to vote as a duty towards their beloved city, for good governance, for fast-paced progress, for ensuring the well-being of every resident of Mumbai, and to guarantee India's success on the global stage, which starts from Mumbai.
It's one of the largest civic bodies. This is something which every Mumbaikar takes pride in. And voting is the right and a duty of each and every citizen in the country. And therefore, we've not had elections in Mumbai, in the municipality, for the last 8 years. So I would appeal to each and every voter through my friends in the media, please go out, cast your vote before the deadline.
अरेंजमेंट्स किया है यहाँ म्यूनिसिपैलिटी ने, और मैं सबसे कहूँगा कि आप आइए, अपना कीमती वोट ज़रूर डालिए। और बड़ी अच्छी अरेंजमेंट्स की हैं बीएमसी ने, तो वाटर की अरेंजमेंट, सब चीज़ की अरेंजमेंट्स की है। एंड प्लीज़ कम एंड वोट। थैंक यू।
मैं यही कहूँगा, सारे मुंबई वालों को कहूँगा, आके वोट जरूर करें। रादर के हम कंप्लेन करते हैं कि पानी नहीं आ रहा, इलेक्ट्रिसिटी नहीं आ रहा, रोड ठीक नहीं है, कचरा है, ये है, वो है। इट्स नाउ आवर टर्न, हम सबको आना चाहिए, और हो सके सारे के सारे आने चाहिए, ताकि हम वोटिंग करके सही मतदान, सही बंदा चुन सकें। सो दैट इज़ इट। अगर साथ में यही कहूँगा कि अगर मुंबईकर का असली हीरो बनना है तो डायलॉग बाजी नहीं, आके सीधे वोटिंग करें।
सभी को वोट करना चाहिए, क्योंकि मेरा मानना है ये सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट इलेक्शन है। ग्रास रूट हमारा इलाका, जब आप घर साफ रखोगे, इलाका साफ रखोगे, इलाके को प्रोग्रेस करते हुए देखोगे, तभी देश की प्रगति भी होगी। तो आई थिंक दिस इज बाय फार द मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेंट इलेक्शंस। हम सिर्फ रोते रहते हैं कि बीएमसी ये नहीं करती, बीएमसी वो नहीं करती। हम कुछ नहीं करते। बीएमसी वाले देखेंगे तो बीएमसी जितना काम करती है, आप रात को 2 बजे देखो तो क्लीनिंग चालू है, फेंकने वाले तो हम ही है ना। तो आई थिंक दिस इज अ वेरी वेरी इम्पोर्टेंट वोट, और सभी को बाहर निकल के वोट करना जरूरी है, बहुत बहुत जरूरी है।
बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है। मैं हमेशा कहते आ रहा हूँ कि ये मौका ऐसा है जहाँ पे आपको अपना ओपिनियन आप मतदान के जरिए आप एक्सप्रेस कर सकते हो, और जो आप चाहते हो उसमें एक एक बूंद, हम जैसे कहते हैं कि एक एक बूंद इम्पोर्टेंट होता है। तो ये अगर रिजल्ट जो आप चाहते हो वो अगर रियलाइज करना है तो हर एक इंसान को आके मतदान करना चाहिए। लोगों से अपील, मैं खुद यहाँ पे हूँ, तो ये इटसेल्फ इज शोज किया ना कि इट इज इम्पोर्टेंट फॉर एवरी सिटीजन।
Well, Ankit Tyagi joins us now. Ankit, we keep calling this a high-stakes battle, but it's also important to remember that of the 6 MPs, 3 of them come from Shiv Sena UBT. Of the 36 legislators the city has, Mumbai has, 10 come from Shiv Sena UBT. So clearly the stakes are more for the Thakres.
Absolutely. You couldn't have put it better, not just because this is the only area where they were able to, in fact, perform better. But after the assembly election, in the last 25 years, we have seen how Shiv Sena, the undivided Shiv Sena, has led the BMC. And though the BJP has been in a supportive role, but today, of course, it is the battle of the legacy. Is there the recall value, the legacy of the Thakre name is being decided, and that is something, a battle of survival of sorts, that the brothers have come together. Because remember, Raj Thakre's son, Amit Thakre, fought the election for the first time. Thakre fought and lost the election as well. So all those things are very, very important, and this will also, in a way, is going to decide whether there is the elbow room future scope as far as the Thakre brothers are concerned. Raj Thakre, apart from the time when the MNS, when he left the Shiv Sena, barring the first election where he won 13 seats, since then he has only been coming down as far as his graph is concerned. With the division in the Shiv Sena as well, Uddhav Thakre, and now with the results of the assembly election, this is a very, very important turf for them. The real Marathi Manus question that they are raising, and also whether there is a future as far as the Thakre family is concerned. Largely, the influence that they had under Bal Thakre, will they be able to continue in any form or manner? That is something that will be decided in this election, and hence that makes it very, very interesting when the results come out tomorrow, Vasudha.
Right. Thank you, Ankit, for joining us. Like you rightly pointed out, this has become more about who lives in Mumbai and who owns the city, and not so much about the governance and civic issues. With that, it's time for a short break. We'll be back in just a bit.
A very special moment for us as we announce NDTV Master Stroke, the NDTV Art Awards.
NDTV presents the Master Stroke Art Awards. An odyssey of creative brilliance, where the masterpiece meets its ultimate recognition.
NDTV bringing this subject forward would have a great integrity of putting it forward where people could understand the importance of art.
This award that is being started, I'm sure is going to be amazing.
Art for India and for Indians is an expression of our Atmanirbharta.
It's actually quite a formidable jury, so I think we'll reveal a lot more as we go along.
This is an amazing platform, I think, today what you're doing.
Honoring the masters who define our creative landscape. Coming soon on the NDTV network.
Pulling us into this country.
They argue, I conclude. They deflect, I drill down. Stop. This isn't a free-for-all. It's a reckoning. No filler, no fog. Only the facts and where they lead. Every night at 9, the case closes because the buck stops here.
Mumbai are bringing our first India tour in your city. Rag on with Shankar Ehsan Loy and Siddharth Mahadevan and Shivam Mahadevan. 5 times melody, 5 times masti with NDTV Good Times. Go grab your tickets on Live Your City by Fever.
को यहाँ से जाना ही होगा।
जय मां दुर्गा!
There is no bigger battle in 2026. And nobody has reported Bengal like I have. Buckle up for an unforgettable election thriller. Will the BJP breach Mamta's fortress?
BMC जावे, BJP आसपे।
Can Didi fight off her life's biggest challenge?
BJP double engine সরকার এই লড়াই বাঁচতে হবে।
Battleground Bengal with Manogya Loiwal.
The front lines of Kargil. The fury of Operation Sindhu.
So many attacks.
The chaos and cries of disaster zones. To fighter jet cockpits. And the world's most defining interviews.
It's incredible.
He has seen history break. Live. Unfiltered. 20,000 hours of live broadcasting.
Welcome to Left, Right, Center.
Hard facts.
War-struck country.
Hard questions.
In the Ukraine.
30 years of trust.
In the Kargil area. North Ukraine. In France, in Italy. At Srinagar. Vishnu Shom for NDTV.
Vishnu Shom. Only on NDTV. Every winter, the World Economic Forum at Davos becomes the world's thinking room, where power, policy and purpose converge, where the future is examined and reimagined. In January 2026, NDTV will be at the heart of this conversation. NDTV Ignite at Davos, this January on the NDTV network.
21 days in Kashmir. People have bombarded me, friends, with requests for an unfiltered list of things I saw and observed on the ground.
Very special ground report from the line of control. There were some children who've lost limbs in the shelling.
They're now India's smallest but possibly the most powerful crime family. Cough syrup has killed at least 25 children. Gaikwad sahab, aise mat kijiye. Suddenly people are wondering about the weaponization of India-Pakistan cricket. We live and breathe elections. You will not believe your eyes or ears when I show you what I'm about to do.
And for a country that has fought so many wars in the mountains and at high altitude.
We're standing on the Indian Navy's newest warship.
The line of control, Shiv Arun, NDTV.
Final countdown to Mahaclash.
Punjab Chief Minister Bhagwant Mann appears before the Akal Takht Secretariat to clarify his remarks on Sikh traditions. He appeared before the Sikh clergy over alleged derogatory remarks on the tenets of Sikhism, and he was summoned allegedly for making derogatory remarks by the temporal body of Sikhs. With that, it's time for a short break. My colleague Gauri Divedi joins you on the other side.
Across the country, he has tracked the pulse of power from Washington to Korea. Witnessed history being made in global capitals and conflict zones. Brought clarity to complex issues of national security and international affairs. Aditya Raj Kaul, Cover B Network.
Straight from the heart of the newsroom to the core of the stories shaping your world. Join me, Gargi Raut, as I track all the developments as they break. Live from the NDTV newsroom, weekdays at 4 p.m.
What seems settled for me is unfinished business. So I rewind, I pause, I reflect, I dig until what's buried stands up to be counted. Breaking ground, not just headlines, the meaning behind them. This is Breaking Ground with me, Vedika Sud.
I don't sugarcoat. I shoot straight and tell you stories the way they need to be told. Unfiltered, unafraid, unmissable. That's how I roll. Watch me, Priyanka Deo, on NDTV World. Namaste.
The first Indian news channel at the World Economic Forum at Davos. 21 years at the heart of the world's most influential dialogue.
Continuing to make sure that the poorest are not forgotten.
Big enough, brave enough, bold enough to face the critics.
We've been doing more and more improvements.
We are the fastest growing amongst the major economies.
Both of us are interested in these.
Young girls aren't in school because they're scavenging for water for the family.
We need to get out of the way and into the work of breaking open access for each and everyone.
Now, India's most trusted news network returns to the Alps with its most formidable editorial voices. NDTV Ignite at Davos.
A very special moment for us as we announce NDTV Masterstroke, the NDTV Art Awards.
NDTV presents the Masterstroke Art Awards. An odyssey of creative brilliance where the masterpiece meets its ultimate recognition.
NDTV bringing this subject forward would have a great integrity of putting it forward where people could understand the importance of art.
This award that is being started, I'm sure is going to be amazing.
Art for India and for Indians is an expression of our Atmanirbharta.
It's actually quite a formidable jury, so I think we'll reveal a lot more as we go along.
This is an amazing platform, I think, today what you're doing.
Honoring the masters who define our creative landscape. Coming soon on the NDTV network.
Pulling us into this country.
They argue, I conclude. They deflect, I drill down. This isn't a free-for-all. It's a reckoning. No filler, no fog. Only the facts and where they lead. Every night at 9, the case closes because the buck stops here.
Mumbai are bringing our first India tour in your city. Ragon with Shankar Ehsan Loy and Siddharth Mahadevan and Shivam Mahadevan. 5 times melody, 5 times masti with NDTV Good Times. Go grab your tickets on Live Your City by Fever.
को यहाँ से जाना ही होगा।
जय मां दुर्गा! तृणमूल कांग्रेस आज क्यों रोए?
There is no bigger battle in 2026. And nobody has reported Bengal like I have. Buckle up for an unforgettable election thriller. Will the BJP breach Mamta's fortress?
It's a local election like none other. BMC, Asia's richest civic body, is now holding its elections. Finally, what's at stake? We get you all those details and, more importantly, the politics of it and why it is desperately important for the Thakres to win this time. I'm Gauri Dwivedi. You're watching NDTV. Our rolling coverage of the big story, Battleground BMC, continues. But a quick check of the big stories we're tracking for you. Controversy breaks out as Mumbai votes for its civic body. Uddhav Thackeray alleges that voters' names have been removed from the list and ink is being wiped off. Maharashtra Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis retorts, says opposition creating a ruckus on every issue is incorrect. It's a face-off like none other. Fiery ED versus Mamata Banerjee plays out in Supreme Court over the recent IPAC raids. ED's damning charge says Mamata Banerjee took away officer's phone. Mamata Banerjee's lawyers, led by Kapil Sibal, says the Chief Minister took the phone that had the poll and party information. Big blow to Vijay's Jananayagan. Supreme Court junks the plea against Censor Board, asks Jananayagan makers to go back to Madras High Court. Top Court says High Court to decide on the appeal on the 20th of January. Jallikattu season kick starts. More than 1,000 bulls part of the Jallikattu. 550 tamers participate. 1,000 police personnel on the spot for security. 78th Army Day Parade in Jaipur. India salutes its brave, valor in step, honor in heart. Operation Sindhu braves at the Army Day Parade. BrahMos and Akashveer on display. Breaking updates coming in on the top of the broadcast. This is regarding a huge controversy that was started by the Congress, then picked up by Uddhav Thackeray, who said that the ink that is being put on voters' fingers is actually something that they can take away and remove just with the help of a sanitizer. To this, the Election Commission has not clarified, saying that cannot be done. Maharashtra State Election Commission has clarified on this entire matter. I'm going to rope in my colleague Abhishek Avasthi, who joins us live on the broadcast. Abhishek, this is a controversy that's just been created in the last 1 hour or so of the polling. Walk us through what exactly is the Election Commission saying and clarifying on the ink issue.
Definitely, it's an important issue that has been raked up currently by the opposition. But what the State Election Commission has come out in clarification is that, removing the indelible ink on the finger is clearly an offence first. In fact, what is opposition alleging is that after removing the ink, a person can again come and cast the vote. To that also, State Election Commission has said that every voter who has casted a vote, records are there. So if he comes back again to vote, he will be booked, is what is been said. And also, they also referring to an order of 2011 of State Election Commission, wherein the use of marker to make that ink mark is there, and it needs to be rubbed on the finger for 3 to 4 times. This is how it is. In fact, you can see here, this is how it is, and this cannot be wiped out. Whether it also can be wiped out, then it's an offence, and he will be booked if he comes back to vote. One thing. Second, and there are already records of the voter. When you come down and vote, respective polling agents are there, then the officials are there, they tick mark and they keep your record, they take your signatures, is what has been mentioned. And more importantly, there is an order of 2011 which clearly points out that a marker should be used and it should be rubbed 2 to 3 times.
Okay,
this
Abhishek,
kind of clarification has come from the State Election Commission.
Very important clarification that's come in. You are in Dadar. That's the Gad, so to say, the epicenter of the Maratha votes of the Thackeray brothers. Can you get a sense of what are people behind you saying about this controversy that has been raked up by the Thackeray brothers?
Definitely. Firstly, we are here in Dadar, which is a stronghold of Shiv Sena. क्या कहेंगे एक तरीके से एक जो इंक लगी है इसको मिटाने का और फिर से मतदार करने का एक तरीके से उद्धव ठाकरे है, कांग्रेस इस तरीके से आरोप लगा रही है। क्या ये पॉसिबल है? इस तरीके की चीज़ें यहाँ हो रही है क्या?
कैसी हो रही है? कैसे मिटा सकते हैं? आप देखो ना, यहाँ पे मिटा सकते हैं क्या आप? नहीं, वो नैरेटिव फैला रहे हैं, उनका बोलने का ही मतलब नहीं है। अभी यहाँ पे जो वोटिंग हो रही है अच्छी तरह से हो रही है। सुबह थोड़ा सा स्लो था, लेकिन अभी सब पब्लिक यहाँ पे उतरे और पब्लिक यहाँ पे जो विकास हो रहा है मुंबई में वो देख के ही वोटिंग कर रही है। और सबके मुंह पे आप देखो, आप सबको पूछो जाके किसको वोटिंग कर रहे। यहाँ पे ब्रांड बिन नहीं चलने वाला, यहाँ पे विकास के मुद्दे पर ही वोटिंग हो रहा है।
दादा, क्या मुद्दा है? गढ़ माना जाता है ये एक तरीके से ठाकरे का, तो किस तरीके की हवा किस तरफ है?
यहाँ पे तो विकास के ऊपर चला जाता है, जिसने विकास किया वही चुन के आ सकता है। रहवासी सभी को विकास की ज़रूरत है यहाँ पे।
Definitely, we had a voter, he clearly pointed out it's very difficult to remove this ink, what he was pointing out, and definitely as far as Dadar is concerned, though it is a stronghold of Thackeray brothers, but we can see the poll pitch of Mahayuti of development that can be making a huge dent in Dadar.
Absolutely, Abhishek, the development push, which has been the main poll plank of Mahayuti, is clearly finding resonance with the people that Abhishek was speaking to. He is in Dadar, the stronghold of the Marathi Manus politics and the stronghold of the Thackeray brothers that has been there traditionally all along. I'm going to play out a soundbite of Raj Thackeray, and then we go to my colleague Anuj, who joins us from Bandra to give us a sense of the controversy that has come to light about the ink, suddenly the indelible ink suddenly now being rubbed off, and then also how things are looking on ground. First up, Raj Thackeray.
आजपर्यंत ती इंक लावली जायची, बरं का? आता काहीतरी नवीन पेन आणलंय आणि ते पेन मध्ये इतक्या तक्रारी सगळ्या बाजूनी येत आहेत की तुम्ही बाहेर पडल्यावरती त्याला जर सॅनिटायझर लावलं तर ती शाई जाते. म्हणजे संपूर्ण प्रशासन हे सत्तेसाठी कामाला लागलेलं आहे. आम्ही आमच्या परीने जे काही करायचंय ते करतोच आहोत, बरं का? परंतु ही काही चांगली लोकशाहीची लक्षणं नाहीत असणार. सत्तेचा किती गैरवापर करायचा याला पण काही मर्यादा मला असं वाटतं असायला हव्यात. आज निवडणुकीचा, आज मतदानाचा दिवस आहे. आम्हाला जे हवं ते आम्ही करू.
पासून मला वेगवेगळ्या ठिकाणातून, मुंबईतून आणि इतर शहरातून पण फोन येत आहेत. निवडणूक याद्यांचा गोंधळ आहेच, नावं वगळली जात आहेत, इथली तिथे जात आहेत, गोंधळ काय संपत नाहीये. शाई सुद्धा काही ठिकाणाची मला कळवण्यात आलं की वोटरची शाई पुसली जाते. मला असं वाटतं निवडणूक आयुक्त हे पगार कसला घेतात ह्याचाही आता खुलासा झाला पाहिजे आणि निवडणूक आयुक्तांवरती एक बंधन पाहिजे की 365 दिवस, आता या तर 4 वर्ष, म्हणजे एकूण पाहिलं तर महापालिका निवडणुका, मुंबईची महापालिका निवडणुकी 9 वर्षांनी होते. मग 9 वर्ष जे निवडणूक आयुक्त आणि त्यांचा कर्मचारी वर्ग काय करत होता, आता रोज निवडणूक आयुक्तांना सुद्धा त्यांच्या साईटवरती आज त्यांनी काय केलं हे सांगणं बंधनकारक केलं पाहिजे.
अभी मैंने ये मार्कर मेरे को लगाया हुआ है, अब इसको मिटा के दिखाइए. देखिए कहीं मिट रहा है, देखिए आपके सामने कर रहा हूँ, कहीं मिट रहा है. ऐसा है कि हो सकता है कि किसी का इसके ऊपर ऑब्जेक्शन हो. इलेक्शन कमीशन ने देखना चाहिए, और कुछ इस्तेमाल करना है तो करना चाहिए. मैं तो बोलता ऑयल पेंट करना है तो ऑयल पेंट करिए. चुनाव निष्पक्ष होने चाहिए, लेकिन हर चीज़ पर इस प्रकार से इशू तैयार करके मानो हमारे जो लोकतांत्रिक संस्थाएं हैं उन संस्थाओं के ऊपर एक प्रकार से प्रश्न चिन्ह.
Anuj Rayate joins us live on the broadcast. He's joining us from Bandra, one of those upmarket suburbs posh suburbs in Mumbai. Before I come to you about the celebrities who haven't really come so far out, I want to first ask you about this big controversy that has suddenly come to light in the last hour or so of the BMC elections, about the indelible ink suddenly now being wiped off, as is being alleged by the Thackeray brothers, even though the Election Commission has clarified on this.
Well, just before getting on live with NDTV here, we were video trying to do the same with the liquid here, acetone. This is the liquid which is used, which is also, a chemical used in nail paint removers and sanitizers. And we used it on a couple of, voters who had just casted their vote. And the result was shocking because the entire mark, which is there on the index finger, was actually coming off if you rub it properly for like 2 to 3, for 2 to 2 to 3 times, whereas we know that the ink which is usually put on fingers after the election, after the voting process gets over, that stays for longer period, that stays for at least a few weeks, and that couldn't be seen. And in our video, NDTV has captured people getting shocked after realizing it was rubbed off.
Okay, now that is very serious what you are saying, Anuj, because we are talking about Anuj, my colleague, himself seeing that there are some instances where that ink, the indelible ink that is put after you cast your vote, it is put on your index finger, was something that they could rub off with the help of acetone that is used as a nail paint remover. Now, Anuj, this is important because we are not talking about hearsay. You yourself have seen it. Now tell us, who all have you spoken to with regard to this? What are they saying?
One thing is there that, of course, there's a bit of shock amongst people when you reveal these things to them, but the Election Commission has already come up with a response to it. Election Commission has stated that there is a rule, it dates back to 2011, according to which marker, which has been used now and which Raj Thackeray also mentioned, can be used. And that is exactly what the Election Commission is, that is the process that the Election Commission is following right now. But a bigger problem is that when there are already so many eyes at the Election Commission, especially after the allegations that were made following the Vidhan Sabha election results in 2024, the ECI choosing to take this route and not really wanting to go with the usual ink, that raises more questions. However, as I said earlier, Election Commission has already put out a response and has stated that ink is just one of the many parts of the process, right? The people there, they have to go in, they have to look for their names, they have to look for their numbers. There's almost a double verification that goes on there, and after that they cast their vote. So even, if we rub off the ink of an individual, and if that individual enters the place and to vote, that might still be impossible, because they have to repeat all those processes again, and for that they need the receipt, and that receipt itself, has been utilized once. But the fact that even one process or even one step of this entire process can be encroached upon, that itself raises questions about why is this the way that the Election Commission chose, when it could have very easily gone with the ink with which it goes in all the elections.
Indeed, that's a very important point, Anuj, that you raised, even though it is correct that the effort should be to make the process as foolproof as it can be, and that's always been the endeavor, and that's what the Election Commission, the State Election Commission, has clarified as well. Thanks much, Anuj, for joining us. He was speaking from outside Matoshri, which of course is where the Thackerays reside. Now, as far as the BMC polls are concerned, viewers, it sparked a fresh political face-off in Maharashtra. Opposition has cried foul. Shiv Sena UBD chief Uddhav Thackeray has alleged that voters' names are being removed from electoral rolls. Now, these are sweeping statements being made, and claimed that indelible ink is actually getting wiped off with the use of just a hand sanitizer. MNS chief Raj Thackeray has also echoed the same charge, saying that pens are being used instead of the indelible ink, and that the marking is actually fading very easily after people are voting. Now, hitting back on this, Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis alleged that, and in fact, he rubbished all these allegations, calling them unnecessary ruckus. Devendra Fadnavis has said that he himself was marked and questioned if it was erasing, adding that the Election Commission can use any method, but the polls must remain completely impartial. I'm going to play out some important sound bites as far as the big story is concerned. And on your screens, what you're seeing are visuals of people exercising their voting rights in Mumbai, which is underway in a high-stakes battle for control of the country's richest civic body. Not just the country's, in fact, in Asia, this is the richest civic body. BMC contest has now turned into a fierce Maha-Mumbai Mukabla with the Shinde Fadnavis Mahayuti on one side and the Thackeray camp and its allies on the other side. The first time in 20 years that the Thackeray cousins have actually come together. Voting is underway across 29 municipal corporations in Maharashtra, BMC being one of them. There are others as well. 3.48 crore voters set to decide the fate of nearly 16,000 candidates. Now, as far as turnout is concerned, it's been very disappointing to say the least. The numbers we have right now is till 11:30 a.m. when it was just 18%. Spotlight is firmly on the BMC. 1,700 candidates contesting for 227 seats after a 4-year delay. Polling is still underway. The slow rate is, we are hopeful that it picks up. 18% till 11:30 is extremely disappointing. At NDTV, we are making a pitch that Mumbai, as you're watching this broadcast, go out exercise your right to vote. Take a look at some reactions coming in on that story.
It's one of the largest civic bodies. This is something which every Mumbaikar takes pride in. And voting is the right and a duty of each and every citizen in the country. And therefore, we've not had elections in Mumbai, in the municipality for the last 8 years. So I would appeal to each and every voter through my friends in the media, please go out, cast your vote before the deadline.
बहुत खुश हूँ। आज सबसे बड़ी सौभाग्य की बात है कि पहली बार आदरणीय उद्धव साहब ठाकरे जी और आदरणीय राज साहब ठाकरे जी इकट्ठे आए हैं और हम दोनों भाइयों की तरफ से जो प्रभाग में जिस पार्टी का पार्षद खड़ा है या प्रत्याशी खड़ा है उसको वोट देने का सौभाग्य आज मिला। अधिकार बेचना नहीं है, खरीदार और विक्रेता दोनों भी नहीं होना चाहिए। ना मैं खरीदता हूँ ना मैं बिकता हूँ। मुझे बाबा साहब अम्बेडकर ने संविधान का जो अधिकार दिया है उस अधिकार का अमल मैं निष्पृहता से करूंगा और ऐसे लोगों को चुनूंगा जो अपनी मुंबई की विकास और सुरक्षा की बात करेंगे, अस्मिता की बात करेंगे। सिर्फ याद रखना, हुतात्मा चौक का स्मरण करके वोटिंग करना।
लोकशाही प्रजातांत्रिक रचना का एक अनिवार्य भाग चुनाव है और इसलिए वो नागरिकों का कर्तव्य भी है। तो संतुलित विचार करके, जनहित का विचार करके योग्य लगता है उस उम्मीदवार को मत देना, वोट देना, ये अपना कर्तव्य रहता है।